my father grew up in Argentina, and where he met my mom, and then they came to the United States in the 60s.
Okay.
So we grew up speaking Spanish in the home, my sister and I. There's never been a due respect to Hispanic organized crime. The only
due
one
respect.
that, let's put it this way, it is always considered second tier of like gang work and criminal work. The Hispanic organized crime elements in the gang units in the FBI, at the HSI, DEA, ATF. DEA, that's their focus. They focus on the cartels.
Sure.
But at the FBI, and like I said, I was doing this for 15 years in my 20-year career, that they look at a Hispanic kind of like, Hispanic organized crime, okay, MS-13, Tren de Aragua, Trinitarios. Well, all right, let's focus on the Bloods, the Crips, English speaking. It was always considered that would be primary.
What about the Mexican cartels? You didn't mention them. I don't know if that's the same.
Well, there was a group on. So I'm speaking from, like I said, FBI in Newark here in Jersey. So there's a squad there that works organized crime enforcement task force. So they go after cartels. That's their focus. But on the gang side, in the gang unit, which I was a part of for, like I said, most of my career, that gang unit and the problem was finding Spanish-speaking investigators. I speak Spanish fluently. It's my first language. I grew up in my home speaking Spanish. My mother's from Chile. My dad's from Argentina.
Oh.
So I grew up speaking Spanish.
Your last name's Brunner?
Yeah. So
where was your grandfather in or around 1941 or 42? God damn it.
So
found another one.
My father, he escaped Belgium. He was 9 years old at the time. He escaped Belgium after the Blitz. And he escaped to Argentina when he was 9 years old. So he's not going to be part. He's not going to be the group. Yeah,
he's clean. That's good.
They escaped to get out of war-torn Europe. And my father grew up in Argentina, and where he met my mom, and then they came to the United States in the 60s.
Okay.
So we grew up speaking Spanish in the home, my sister and I, and that's how I was recruited in 2003 to join the bureau because of my language ability.
And you told me you were coming from the Navy. Is that right?
I was in the Navy.
What'd you do in the Navy?
So you ever see that, like in the movies, the dark room and the big radar scopes?
Yeah.
Those are called operations specialists. So I was an enlisted guy. So I did that for 5 years while I was on sea duty on the USS Stark, USS McInerney. So we did radar tracking, communications. We were the brains of the operation of the ship, where we launched the missiles, we tracked the aircraft. We literally would tell, the Maverick and the Gooses out there, hey, we need your aircraft to come over here. And then they would get into the fight.
Nice.
So we did that. And then I spent 3 years at the Naval Academy as an instructor. From 99 until 03 when I joined the bureau.
And then they plucked you. Really, a lot of it had to do with your language ability, you're saying?
Well, yeah. So they came, it was and it was 2002, right after, and they came to the academy, and I just finished my bachelor's degree because I had spent. So I went straight out of high school here in Connecticut. I went straight to college. I went to Syracuse U, and after a year and a half, Syracuse kind of said, I think you need to go, because I wasn't studying. I was just spending too much time. So I left Syracuse after a year and a half, and then joined the Navy, and that's where I finished my education, finished my degree. So I was 3 years at the Naval Academy. They were talking to me about trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was either going to re-enlist, already 9 years in, re-enlist, do my 20, or get out with my bachelor's degree and see what I could do. And I was posted, and an FBI recruiter, special agent recruiter, came to the academy looking, and I was in a room full of Navy commanders, captains, Navy SEALs, pilots, and I was one enlisted guy in the room. And the recruiter was like, well, we need, and traditionally everybody thinks about the FBI as lawyers and CPAs and, people who are multiple degrees educated. And I wasn't any of those. And I was an enlisted guy.
You were a bulldog.
I was nothing. So I looked at it and I said, and they were going through, hey, these are the things we're looking for: computer scientists, language, people who can speak Mandarin, Farsi, Urdu, and then Spanish. And I was like,
interesting.
You really need people that speak Spanish. Not until I got in did I realize how bad the Bureau is about having agents that speak Spanish.
That's crazy. It's like the biggest demographic here.
That's exactly what I thought. So I literally, what they said, we're looking for people to speak Spanish. I was like, all right, I'll apply. But, and every step I was like, okay, here's phase 1 exam. That was September 11th, 2002. I took the phase 1 exam. And then every step of the way, they just said, okay, here, show up for this, show up for this, show up for this, show up for this. And then September 7th, 2003, I reported to the academy for new agent training.
In Quantico?
In Quantico. And then 17 weeks completed that. And my first office was Newark. Never left.
And were you put on a desk dealing with these gangs right away, or did you start with something else?
And that's exactly why the Bureau is, backwards when it thinks about that.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.